Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, and this is your Cannabis Business Podcast. Today, we are live at the World Trade Center in Seattle talking about Budtenders. They're the critical link between bankruptcy and billions. Today, we're here with some fascinating guests. And so we're going to jump right into our panelists here. First, we have Alec Langston. He's a budtender at Dockside Cannabis. Alec has been a cannabis enthusiast for several years and has been budtending for about 3 years now. His passion is educating people about cannabis and budtending, which has been a great outlet for that, being a budtender. His goal is to help as many people and experience this wonderful plant as possible. His favorite part of the cannabis industry is changing that perception of cannabis skeptics and watching customers benefit from the guidance that's incredibly rewarding. And he's looking forward to developing within this industry and meeting new people along the way. We also have Bryan Yeager, CEO of LemonHaze.com. LemonHaze is a cannabis tech platform with a history of presenting industry data and more recently hosting events with a focus on budtenders, which is providing innovative and relevant education, networking opportunities, and business exchanges along with nationally recognized entertainers who have a prominent voice in the normalization and growth of recreational cannabis industry. Ashley is a budtender at Green Lady Pot Shop in Olympia. She's a budtender in Olympia with a medical marijuana certificate. Rebecca Berry is a senior account manager at Wurk. Wurk is an all-in-one workforce management solution for highly regulated markets, including the cannabis industry. They've created an intuitive application to manage payroll, HR, timekeeping, and tax compliance with everything you need to streamline operations, reduce labor costs, and minimize regulatory risk. And also, remotely is Claire Kaufmann, Director of Client Services at Brightfield Group. Claire's nationally known CBD and cannabis business and marketing strategist. She currently works as the Director of Client Services at the Brightfield Group, an industry-leading CBD and cannabis market research firm. Claire has worked in the CBD and cannabis space for the past 7 years. She's worked in-house for vertically integrated cannabis companies and formerly as a Northwest Regional Director for BDS Analytics. Claire has also recently served on the OLCC, Recreational Marijuana Business Council in Oregon. Her take on the future trends of the cannabis industry and the question facing marketers and entrepreneurs are sought out by national and international media, cannabis industry leaders, and key players in the traditional marketing world. I'd like to thank everybody for being on board and being on the Talking Hedge podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And about the World Trade Center, the World Trade Center Tacoma grows trade and investment by providing direct access to the largest business network in the world with 300 offices in 99 countries. The World Trade Center in Tacoma is a lone trade service center for the Pacific Northwest. They have seminars and award ceremonies, conferences that can generate contacts and contracts. Trade research can clarify opportunities, and their matchmaking can turn those opportunities into trade. One of the things that I like about the World Trade Center is it gives me peace of mind knowing that I can use international guarantees or bank guarantees as a member. And also the e-commerce export store, they've partnered with Alibaba, which is translated into 18 languages and provides an opportunity to sell your product online internationally to hard-to-reach places like Asia. Claire, have you seen any data with Brightfield Group on how online orders or customer service and loyalty rewards impact repeat sales?
No, but I do have experience based on that from my work at Groundworks. So in terms of loyalty programs, they do tend to work pretty well. I think in terms of actual data on how well, I don't know. Sorry to be so profoundly helpful with my answer. But no, I mean, I think that budtenders in general really can make or break a brand. And I don't oftentimes, at least when I talk to VPs of marketing for big brands, they don't often understand it. Or if they do understand it, they oftentimes don't want to acknowledge it. And I think they have to walk a fine line, you know, between, in some cases, ethos sells a brand. Budtenders often, I don't want to use the word old school, but sometimes they really value companies and they really know a lot about the ethos of those companies, and that drives a lot of their recommendations. In addition to, I think one of the budtenders spoke about reliability and trustworthiness and how important that is to customers. So I think what we really need to do as a market research firm is to start to quantify what brand attributes really matter the most to consumers, and see if those align with what brand attributes matter to brands, to budtenders. I remember when I was at Groundworks, we did a big interview with all of our budtenders, who collectively we had more than 120 budtenders. And then we did an interview with, thousands of our customers, and we asked them to rank the importance of different attributes in terms of how they buy products. And there were things, I think the 7 things on the list were budtender recommendation, price, potency, aroma, jar appeal, effect, farm or producer, and I tried it last time, and we saw that budtenders really cared about the company that made the product, and especially I'm talking about flower, like really care about the company that produced that flower, and and the terpene content ranked very high. THC was 3rd or 4th, and we found that consumers are, of course, shocker, price driven. Primarily, and that out of the total list, the last thing they cared about was who made it. And so I think that brands find themselves in quite a conundrum, relying on budtenders, but perhaps struggling with the fact that consumers don't have the education to even discern or know the difference.
I just did a podcast on the OK program here in Washington State. That's a pesticide kind of testing program, and there's some issues with products that probably shouldn't be on the shelf. And so definitely with me, I have reduced the amount of oil after one of the companies had Eagle 20, an herbicide, and when heated turns into carcinogen. So I stopped buying vape cartridges. I stopped buying joints after Jim McRae's Straight Line Analytics report. And the OK program came out with 5 infused and 5 regular joints, all 10 of them having way too much mold. And so definitely an issue for me. That's absolutely how I make my decisions. And so, Bryan, do you have anything to add to that? And have you seen with Lemon Haze or in your own experiences how online orders, customer service, and loyalty rewards impact repeat sales?
There are several platforms out there. Some have done better than some have not done as well. We try to encompass as many people as we can into our events and learn as much about everybody. But as of today, I personally, at least in the state of Washington, I can't speak for California or some of the other states, there hasn't been anything that has really taken over or really had a huge impact. There's a lot trying new things. There's going to be some new stuff coming down the pipe. But the reality is we live in an Amazon world, and until the day you can actually pay for it online, nobody's really going to take advantage of that. There's no real reason to.
Not even the 10% discount?
Ashley probably answer that better than I can because she's the one that sits there and looks at it. But what we've seen, even when we were data and we were looking at it, we did not see huge amounts of discounts online making that big of a difference in sales. I'm not saying they don't. This is more anecdotal over the course of the last year because our data went away over the last year.
Right.
But even when we did have all the data and we did track everything, we weren't tied directly into the POS systems. We weren't seeing a lot of online. And I'm not saying it's not there. Baker does a great job. I like it. I don't want to run off, but there's a bunch of great companies out there that do a great job and they're working hard. And there's a lot of companies right now that are positioning, so they understand they're losing money. They don't mind losing money because they understand if they can be in position to be the Amazon when it does go fairly legal and you can start making payments, that it's all about where your position is then. I mean, how many years did Amazon lose money? 24 years, something like that? But it was all about establishing where they were, and look at them now. And that's what you're seeing out of some of these. And, there's some 800-pound gorillas in the room, but there's also people coming up that are doing a great job.
And with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. I want to thank all my guests for being here with the Budtender panel. That's Alec Langston. He's a Budtender at Dockside Cannabis. Bryan Yeager right here, CEO of LemonHaze.com. We have Ashley Hirchert, Budtender at Green Lady Pot Shop in Olympia. On the line with us is Rebecca Berry, Senior Account Manager at Wurk. And also on the line with us is Claire Kaufmann, Director of Client Services at Brightfield Group. Previously recorded is Tom Gieger, Communications Director of a union in Seattle, UFCW21. Also Kara Bradford and David Muret, co-founders at Viridian Staffing. And Zahra, Kohl, and Tyler Nesterenko of Budtenders Ball. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't, and I'm out.